and welcome to another edition of the Big Knick Energy Podcast. First off, check out our two sponsors. First, Empire Original Designs at jointheempire.com. East Coast #1 challenge coin manufacturer, the home of challenge coins, lapels, pins, patches, keychains, bottle openers, and more. Mention our podcast, Big Knick Energy, via email for 5% off purchases. Once again, that's at jointheempire.com. Also, check out Mr. Print, located in New Windsor, New York. You think it, we print it. You can design your shirt right on the website, mrprint845.com. Can be shipped anywhere in the U.S. Mr. Print 845 on Instagram for all your printing and embroidery needs. Once again, that's mrprint845.com. I'm your host, Joe Yoke, the Bald Kid Wonder. That's the co-host, Trey Deuce, a.k.a. Deuce Man, a.k.a. delivers every day and twice on Sunday. And our very special return guest, new fatherhood hit this man about a month ago. The great creator of New York-born menswear, Grungy Gentleman, Jace Lipstein. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing absolutely great, and that's a true statement. Thank you very much.
No problem, man. A couple of questions about the baby real quick. First
Sure.
off, his name's Luca, correct?
Yes, he is.
Having a September baby, all the greats born in September, myself, Kevin Durant, now your son.
There you go. And I feel like since it's a Knicks podcast, I should, I'll show you. He's right here right now.
God bless.
Oh
man.
my God.
There you go.
God bless.
Oh.
He's adorable.
And,
Welcome to the show, little guy.
Yeah. And his middle name is Riley, like Pat, and that's true.
Very cool.
Awesome. So you got Luka Doncic and Pat Riley all in one.
Well, it's LUCA. It's like more Italian, but yeah, we went with Riley for his middle name because of Pat Riley. Because obviously,
very cool.
The '94 Knicks. I mean, we've been down this road from the first show, but
yeah,
they're like, probably, let alone in sports, just what they've taught me on and off the court was like some of the most impactful, like probably one of the most impactful things that has happened to my life. So, being able to have my son, first child, having his middle name Riley after, Pat Riley, because, of his work ethic and, defensive mentality and sort of, blue collar, everything that Riley represented with the Knicks.
Absolutely.
I guess my son's stuck with it now.
I love it. The man is a basketball genius. So hopefully he passes it along to your son.
Yeah.
How much sleep have you gotten in the past 4 weeks?
You know what? God, I don't want to jinx anything. We're very, 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 very lucky.
It's been good.
Luke is extremely behaved, and that's not only at night. That's like always. I think he definitely takes after his mother personality wise, because he's very chill and relaxed. So he's definitely not like his father, but yeah, we are really lucky. I mean, he'll be a month old on Saturday, and so far so good. But you never know; it could always change. But he's been the biggest surprise, I would say, or the number one thing that, like, people ask me, like, what did you not expect? I know this sounds weird, but it just, the amount of like pure joy he really has brought me. And I know I've maybe even DM'd you guys this, but it's just like, I'm happy all the time. And, and that's something that, like, I mean, obviously I knew like having a child is going to make me happy and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't realize that I'd be just like happy all the time. So like, that's really cool. But anyways, enough about me. And I guess everyone will be tuning off soon if we don't talk about it.
Maybe he got his calm, cool demeanor from Pat Riley too.
Although, wait, hold on. Did you guys see we put him in his first Knicks outfit? I'm not trying to throw a cheap plug, but it's on our Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, we had like this launch with NBA 2K, so I just like and
it's at Grungy Gentleman, by the way, for listeners.
Thank you very much for that. And basically, I design clothes for several teams, but obviously I'm a Knicks fan, so I'm wearing the Knicks set. It's a t-shirt and shorts that's available on our website. And I made a special one for him. And those clothes are literally like in NBA 2K. So it was like a really special moment because, as a dad, or I guess when I was foreshadowing to be a dad, like when my wife was pregnant, I was so excited being like, oh my God, because I knew what the due date was. Like, Luka's going to be alive for like the whole basketball season. This is crazy. Yeah. And obviously, I did know that I was doing some stuff with the league and also with 2K. So I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And he showed up slightly early, not too crazy, and made my 2K launch. So I had to put him in the clothes for that day. They were a little too big on him because we rushed it.
That makes sense.
but boy, did he look cute. Oh my goodness.
Speaking of 2K, Jace, can you tell us a little bit about the process of like getting involved and included with the video game?
Well, I mean, they kind of, I guess, like kind of like handpick like, what emerging brands or even like established brands that they want to work with. I believe that, and I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, they work with like all the league sponsors as well. Like that's a given, but anyone outside of that, I think it's like, whatever they feel is sort of culturally relevant, I guess.
No, it's awesome.
Which is awesome. I mean, you're based out of New York. You're extremely culturally relevant. That's for sure.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, when I make clothes, sort of like, I want when somebody goes up to our rack, them to feel like, whoa, I could wear that and it would like make me look cool, but it also isn't like too like much like, whoa, like that's like too crazy. So like, a lot of our stuff is like, for instance, our NBA sets are black or light heather gray. It's, colors and stuff that I really wear. And don't get me wrong, our company definitely injects color, but when we do we always do it as accents, just so like it isn't too overpowering for, or just too much. I just always want to be sort of a little better version of myself. I don't have to recreate who I am every morning.
I'll tell you, looking at it, it's very casual, but it's very sleek as well. It's the colors.
Are you talking about our NBA clothes or just
I'm looking right now. I'm just looking at the NBA sets that you had, like the Lakers and Nets and Knicks and 76ers. It's super clean. It's direct, and it's extremely wearable. It's very high fashion looking, but it's also very like urban and very comfortable. When you design these things, are you pulling from something? Are you looking to set a trend? Are you looking to incorporate things?
So a lot of times you design for different needs. So like, for instance, for this specifically, there's a few things that I wanted to get out of this. This was our first drop with the NBA. So it needed to be a nice introduction of who we are, and it needed to be direct with that. And I think we accomplished that. Additionally, I wanted to do a few things. I wanted to make product that I feel could be paired with like clean trainers, maybe a vintage watch, somebody who isn't necessarily young that would be wearing a t-shirt and shorts. Now everyone could wear it, someone, of course, as well, but I wanted to be able to make sure that all age groups it would be applicable to. And like the one thing I'm really proud of, like our shorts are wild. Like I put a lot of time and effort and crazy amount of samples. I think it was like 8 or 9. It was a lot, and a lot of hard work in between each one too. And basically, like what I'm proud of, I don't know if this is gross or not, but like I wear my shorts like 4 or 5 times, and before I'm even watching it, and it's looking great.
I think most men do.
Yeah, so like that's like great, you know what I mean? Like for me, like to be like dope, like when you have like a really good pair or something, and you always like it's one of your go-tos. For me to have it as my own brand now, and the Knicks thing, that's really cool. So so like for this, the NBA kind of did mention like what they liked. They didn't like say you need to do this. So I was like, all right, let's start with these sets. I think it's a really good introduction. It's very direct, like I said. I think it was applicable for the time when we released it. And also we're very blessed that we had some support organically through Hypebeast and Complex, which helped the partnership and get visibility, because as a designer, you put a lot of time and effort, but I guess it doesn't, of course it's exciting and it means something, but it means a lot more if people see it, because you want people to buy it and have it and experience it,
Right.
Absolutely. I was going to say a last comment before we move on to the Knicks. Jace, if you do, it's okay. They are your brand. We might have to end the call though. Do you wear the other teams?
No.
Okay. Forget it. We can keep going then.
No, I don't. I think though, like, to be honest with you, because I know what partnerships I have coming out in the future. Like, listen, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm a big boy, like, am I going to be wearing, a random team around my house? No. But if I need to do something for a team and they need me to like do a runway show and foreshadowing something that might be happening, I got to do what I got to do. But I mean, and also that doesn't mean that, like, for instance, you know what the weirdest thing about I guess relationships for me have been? I am such a hardcore Knicks fan, and I think you know that.
Yeah.
And always have been like, it was absurd. I have like stacks and stacks of Knicks jerseys because I wouldn't wear any other team. So I would just consistently ask my parents or someone else for jerseys over my life and accumulated. And even as I got older, the swingmans were popular. I'd only get Knicks ones. Regardless, so I'm a hardcore Knicks fan. But what's weird is, like, even working with guys a lot, sometimes even through the Knicks, when I had partnerships with MSG, they go to different teams and stuff like that. I have like real friendships with people. So like, it's weird in that way, because like sometimes I like will root for certain players versus teams these days when the Knicks are not involved in talking about.
I think it's way more common.
But it's weird though. I don't root against the Knicks rivals. I can't root. I shouldn't. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. But I can root against certain Knicks rivals. Let's just put it that way.
You're like Marcus Morris. I love you, just not anymore.
There you go. No, I mean, it's funny is that just like, I do support people who support you. I think that's natural in life. And there's a lot of guys on different teams. I'll give you a great example of someone that's just, somebody who's been supportive. From Langston Galloway, just very throughout my hope for years. You know what I'm saying? Great person. I know he landed with Golden State recently, had a great year with Phoenix last year. Good for him. He's crushing it. Living life on the West Coast easy. And there's plenty of other guys like Mason Plumlee. Like, he was one of the first people when I got engaged to my wife, who like sent us like a video to like congratulate us. So basically he came to like one of my runway shows, right? And this has happened with tons of athletes and stuff like that. And then like, I eventually saw him somewhere. It was actually random. Actually, I guess I could tell you this is really cool. All right, my second trip I ever took with my wife was her work trip. How funny is that? I'm freeloading on this trip.
Not really a vacation.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was great. I was like tagging along, +1 bill, I guess, right? But it was in San Diego, and it was actually the Comic-Con, but she was doing it on a little high level, and we were staying in a very nice hotel, and he was there, and obviously we know each other, right? And so he kind of was, I guess, there early in our relationship, because he was like, at that point when I was like, yeah, look, I just met them. Then I eventually obviously married her, and now I have Luca with her. It's the best thing ever. So like, you root for people that like are, important in your life. A lot of people, like athletes, text me and follow me or support, like you tend to root for them. Sorry for the rant, but
no, not at all. It's awesome.
But that does really happen. I would be a straight up liar to tell you, but I've never rooted against the Knicks. I'll never root against the Knicks because it's not in my blood,
Your demeanor.
Mason Plumlee, when you go against the Knicks this year, you can go 20-20, man. Your team just has to lose.
Like for instance, like, listen, I want the Knicks to win, but like, it's weird. It's like, it's not, I actually don't really like it when they play the Knicks, but when they're playing other teams, I like to see them go for as many points or whatever as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
You want success for people who want success for you.
Yeah. And like, even if they do score against us, okay, like hopefully we're winning, right?
Exactly.
And if we are, like, listen, if people have to score, let it be them at least. You know what I'm saying? But I that's weird though. That's the only part that's weird. Yeah. When they play us.
Jace, to actually get into the Knicks for the upcoming season, I know I sent you the questions prior, so I want to bring up this dude first and foremost, because I feel like he really is the wild card and X factor for our team from like a health standpoint, defensive standpoint. Like, Mitch supposedly can come back as early as this Friday and play in the last preseason game. Mm-hmm. What are you looking for out of Mitchell Robinson in what is now a contract year?
Okay. Well, there's obviously a few ways this can play out, right? He can be obviously his top half. I think he focused on building up because he was able to move that around. Wow, thank you. While
he got jacked.
Exactly. So, if he returns to form plus that, he can become I'm joking here, of course, and being be baby Shaquille O'Neal overnight, or he obviously takes a little bit of a setback because of his leg and needs some time to return to form a little bit. Right. So I think that, you hope, of course, right, that he's an absolute animal. You hope that he either becomes irreplaceable or such a trade value chip that like we're, that can be basically packaged with something else at the deadline to put us over the top if we're
take us to the championship lane.
And so I don't know if I'm answering your question. He's a great rim protector. I think it will make guys' lives a lot easier during a full season, like Taj Gibson. You know what I'm saying? Now he's great and plays with his heart and whatever, but like, man, that's a long season. You know what I'm saying?
36 years old. You can't expect that much out of him.
And there's, and even Nerlens, we need bodies that are big. So listen, let's hope that, he returns to form because, definitely what used to be our weakness completely, I would say, guard play. I'm talking about years ago coming, remember going to free agency. Now that's certainly not the issue. And we'll talk about that later because that is deep.
Yeah.
That is called what I call run you off the floor type offense.
We have like 7 guards that can start on other teams. It's insane. Frank, before we get off the center part, I know based on what Jace just said, this actually ties into a lot what you've been saying on prior podcasts. What do you think it'll take from a Mitchell health standpoint for Jericho Sims to actually get on the floor? Because I know you love Jericho, man.
I do. I think he's still going to be buried, unfortunately, just because of how deep. Because you got to look at it. With Mitch, we have an elite rim protector. Without Mitch, we have an elite rim protector in Nerlens Noel. And then you have Taj, who has in the preseason has been playing out of his mind. I don't know if you watched any preseason games.
So would you rather? I don't mean to overtalk you, but would you rather him get reps in G League then?
I would assume. Well, I would assume that's where he's going to be doing. I think, to me personally, he needs to develop more of an inside game. He's just looking to get.
He's raw,
very raw, but he's very athletic.
Which obviously,
which I loved, and I just wanted to see him turn that athleticism into something more offensive. But I think that's going to take some time, a little bit of seasoning. But I think he's going to get buried, unfortunately, barring injuries. But even still, we're still deeper than, he's I think he's a couple of years away from, really, really finding a rotation spot.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he might not contribute huge like for a full length of a season, but the unfortunate reality is that with our big men, Mitchell Robinson, who has been hurt, he's not just going to step in and play 35 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, start him at like 15 and go from there.
Right. You have Taj Gibson, who we need to I don't want him to burn out right away. That actually could be really bad. You know what I'm saying? I know we might win a few games early, but like that's something you need to watch. Okay. And then, and then we have Nerlens, who's like, he has his own issues as well sometimes. Right. So like, I do feel that Sims will be used. He might, like you said, I think he'll be in G League for a little bit, but I do think he's going to be very active as a basketball player because one, he'll be getting reps there because they're going to want him to be ready. And then I fortunately think we're going to need him at one point,
Jace, I mentioned this a lot in other podcasts. And since we're on it, I want to touch on it with you. What would it take? Because Tibbs never goes small, man. He refuses to play like Toppin and Randle at the same time, 4 and 5, when like Steve Kerr, for example, would definitely give it a shot, or like some other coaches would. He always wants like that rim protector out there. Do you think he would ever actually do that? I think it would greatly benefit us from a center depth standpoint getting 48 minutes, but what's your take?
Okay. First off, I'm sure eventually he might have to do that, and he will, or if it clicks, it might be so obvious that it is. I smirked when you said it because I love how old school Tibbs is, and I do want to beat people up. I want to win the game and the fight. Okay. Right. That's how I play basketball. And that's that Pat Riley mentality, Jeff Van Gundy as well. So I have no problem going big. We have really decent centers. We just need to keep them healthy. You know what I'm saying? And obviously our guards can run you off the floor. So if our big guys can beat you up a little bit, we could beat people into an oblivion this year. And that's what I'm looking for. And I think actually the guys you would hope, I guess benefit most that aren't running you through like the gym would be Julius Randle.
Yep.
From not only from people committing and then he getting like little shovel passes and he can lay it in. I actually think he's going to trail behind guys. And they're actually, once the defense commits or they feel they might not go, it's going to be a backwards passing. He's going to have these 6, 9, 10 footers that are just like how we always used to shoot, but it'd be completely uncontested.
Yeah.
And then we hope Evan Fournier, who's shown a lot of swagger, benefits as well from this. Sorry, I'm going off topic. I'm just excited.
Nah, you're good, dude. I'm super excited you mentioned Fournier. You can ask Frank about that.
Yeah. I just, the thing that I really love now that we were missing is everyone can pretty much dribble penetrate at this point. From Randle as far as big guys go, and then going towards the guards. I think that with these shooters, Fournier has been. So let me phrase it this way: watching all of the preseason games this season, I have been super. Look at him, just chilling. What a life, eh?
Just keep going. Sorry.
No, you're good, man.
28 days old, not a care in the world.
Right.
This team has been so unselfish in the preseason. So looking at plays where Randle could be trailing and having wide open jumpers just because we're able to penetrate. They put this team together so well, and I'm seeing things in the preseason that is getting me so excited. The amount of 3-pointers that we're knocking down, everything has just kind of been coming together. It's nice to see the brass put a team together and the team clicking so quickly and being we
absolutely Mortal Kombat style finished like the Indiana Pacers. Absolutely, I think it was like a 27-point win. That was a beatdown. Okay. And that was more than 27 points. Cause in this league, you could have those types of wins out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was an absolute, and what was crazy, and maybe you'd be like, oh, Jace, you didn't know. But I actually thought going into that game that the Pacers were kind of like just as good of us as a team, right?
They're projected like that from a lot of national people.
Game. Like, for instance, maybe we're 1 seed higher, they're 1 seed higher, but I thought like we were in for a competitive game and this would be a good litmus test. And then all of a sudden, I start seeing our guards just running them off a court and like to the point where I'm like, and hopefully I'm not like, over speaking here about things we need to talk about later, but like, you have Kemba, we kind of were praying that we would get this version and that he would hopefully stay healthy. Let's hope the latter happens. But right now, oh Lord, okay. And how he shoots his jumper. Oh boy.
His confidence.
Okay? Oh boy. All right. We talk about one thing that you said that was so dead on was we haven't had guards to take the ball to the rack since I can't even tell you. If you can tell me Raymond Felton, or get the heck out of here.
Right.
I'm talking about
since we had Marbury.
Even okay, fine, and I agree. Marbury did do that, but he did. But when he was here, he was driving Knicks fans nuts. I'm just okay, and I liked him a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about somebody that could really just, I'm going to take you off the dribble. You know what I'm saying? It was really nice to see. I feel like Rod Strickland used to do that back in the day. But anyway,
his issues were off the court.
There you go. Yeah, I agree. Great body type for a point guard. Oh my God. He could have been unbelievable. But anyways, switching gears, Kemba was obviously great. Fournier had swagger that I absolutely had no idea. I've seen Fournier play, but I've also, I guess I'm a jerk and judge a book by his cover because I'm thinking like, all right, this guy might, he'll probably shoot, you know what I'm saying? I've seen what he's done. All of a sudden, first game, he's like shooting like 1 foot fadeaway threes. Like,
oh yeah, he's crafty.
Dude, he plays like horse.
I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, man, he's gonna surprise you.
And then I was like, oh, it's great. We got great pickups, right? Then this is where and I'm sure it's the same thing would happen with you. Derrick Rose started doing his thing, the same thing that he did last year. And I was like, oh, wow, if he could really do that again. Then all of a sudden I started realizing, wait a minute, we still have quickly starts running people off the floor. I'm going, wait a minute.
It doesn't stop.
And then they have Alec Burks come off the bench for like 18
That's
points.
what I was going to say. Where does Alec Burks fit in? He's like our backup shooter now. Like, you know what I'm saying? People were projecting him to start going in the year. He's going to fight for minutes.
He's like our ninth man now.
That's my point. And like, we're deep.
And Rose can hit the 3 ball now too.
Listen, Derrick Rose, you're like, oh, maybe he's older. He starts first game, start doing under the basket reverse layup. What is going on?
His ability to change speeds.
The stop and go is
age,
magical.
Well,
listen, maybe it's a good girl who will fix him up, because I guess he got engaged in the Garden the other day. But
yeah,
and he looks like he's got some life in him still. Because
Oh,
yeah.
And by the way, that's also someone we need to watch, like Taj Gibson this year. As much as I want to get wins and collect W's and run people off the floor, I don't want to monitor him, because I don't want it to also Derrick Rose, who can get down on himself, to start like not loving everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, I want to like make sure we don't like burn him out either, because that would be we quickly is good. And then let's talk about our front court. Holy crap! As all of a sudden did Obi Toppin just
figure it out?
Yeah, what happened? Like, just say, all right, first year was like just a joke, guys. Don't worry about it. And almost like, because I think everyone knows he's like a good guy. You root for him, and I was excited.
Someone else that had his first kid this past year,
but he was imposing on people. I was like, wait, what? So then if you take that, you take Julius. You know, we've spoke about our centers a lot this episode. RJ, of course. You know what I mean? Wow.
We haven't even mentioned RJ yet.
Yeah, and that's my point. And I know you guys are really hot and heavy in RJ. And, to be honest with you, I really hope that RJ, I don't want to say they utilize him like they did in Duke, but I want him more in the open court. And the reason is because now we have other guards that can finish. And we have, obviously, we need to create easy buckets for guys like Julius. We will wipe teams out.
We need way more transition this year.
I'm going to tell you that if we can get RJ running, I know everyone's like, oh, shooting, we need more shooting. But, we have shooting. We have Fournier, Kemba can shoot. Sorry, I just said
Rose quickly bursts.
IQ.
Geez, now we're saying Derrick Rose is a shooter. Listen, if he gets
40% last year,
he can, and he will. And that's incredible. And even quickly, you know what I'm saying? That we have guys who can shoot, you know what I'm saying? And I know RJ can too, but I want to see him in the open floor, getting fouls, getting people into foul trouble, dumping off. Like, remember how we used to dump it off to Zion? Guess what? Zion is now Julius Randle. Pretend he's him. Okay, done.
I think that's going to bring his game to the next level.
Now, let me ask you a question. Why were they able to do that in Duke? Because they had that point guard. Wasn't his name like Tyus something? What was that guy's name?
Oh, Ty Jones.
Ty Jones, right? Tyus Jones, right? So, and he was able to start that fast break. Guess what? Kemba Walker can start that fast break now.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So we have those ingredients now where the guys that are going to be wide open, like I was saying, that's what I pray for. I mean, you think that the defense is going to have to collapse down when we're running the open court. Evan Fournier could have a cup of coffee before he shoots a three. Is what I'm praying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we should murder teams. I mean, quickly should get wide open shots when
wide open
are running, right?
Frank, based on what you've been watching, what have you seen? Because RJ's been distributing a lot more in the preseason because he actually has shooters, not Elfrid Payton next to him. How much has his assist been looking good to you?
I think that personally, on a team that's going to be extremely successful, I think that RJ doesn't need to score 20 points a game. I think if RJ can give you 15, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal a game, which I think is actually kind of reasonable for the role that he could be in. I think that he would. That's an all-star. He might not be for the league, but for me, that's an all-star.
Think of it this way:
team.
what you just said, it doesn't mention any of his defensive skill.
Hold on,
he's our defensive stopper now.
100%. He might be. I don't want to do this because he's a totally different player. But you know how Draymond Green is to like Steph and like them, like he's still all-star teams. So and he doesn't have the craziest stat lines ever. I mean, but what I think is he will fill stat sheets. But here's the thing: the best thing that I've seen, and you hit it right on the head, was he's distributing and passing because he has more confidence in the other guys around him. Right. Guess what? That means some nights, because other teams are going to think he's passing, he's going to go for 40.
Right.
You mark my words. When his 3 ball is working, right, that game, he's going to go off. Okay. Now he needs to have some of these games where he's putting up 8 assists, stuffing stat sheets, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Doing like, back what Andre Iguodala used to do back in the day, all categories, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, he's more skilled offensively than those guys I've been mentioning. So,
right.
you know what I mean? Now there's just
Draymond's a better passer. RJ's a way better scorer though.
Yeah, I agree. And what's good is, right, like the biggest concern for Knicks fans, and I think this was abundantly obvious while we were blowing people out. You're like, wow, we have so many weapons. Well, if we're not sitting people normal like how we are, like now, like there's too many. There's not enough ball to go around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So nice is that you see RJ embracing that. So I think we're going to have a lot of lopsided stat lines where Julius is one night. We're going to beat you a lot of different ways this year because Derek is going to have his nights. Quickly and Toppin are going to have nights. You know what I mean? Let's hope
before we get too far off RJ, I have a question for both of you because I do like what you just said that he's going to get 40-point games this year. What does he get first? His first ever triple-double or his first ever 40-point game? I'm saying he gets a triple-double first because he's going to be able to distribute a lot.
I would say that.
Frank?
I think it's going to happen quick.
You want me to be honest with you? My first three, as soon as you said that, the first thing that came to my mind was a 40-point game. So I'm going to go with what my brain said right away. I think there's going to be a night where, because you got to think of it this way. His ability to score is there. There's no questioning if he could score. He's strong. His shooting has gotten much better. I want him to get more fouls. That's something that he needs to do.
He grew 2 inches, which I think is legit.
I think that there's going to be everyone's going to have assists on this team. So what Jace was saying, that there's so many scores, there's so many options. I was kind of worried to see how everything was going to mesh. I thought we were going to have to take a little bit of time for us to find any kind of continuity, but that was put to bed immediately from game one. Like literally from game one of the preseason, I was like, holy shit, this team is passing the basketball so unselfishly. It reminded me of like Warriors basketball. It reminded me of San Antonio basketball.
I was thinking the Spurs. Yeah.
I was like, wow, man, this team, they are really playing with each other.
It's because of their coach, my man.
Yeah, for sure. And funny enough, like yesterday when I'm watching the game and Julius is back in, they had a very slow half. And the reason they had a slow half, in my opinion, was they were trying to figure out a way how to work Julius back into being the focal point of the offense. And they struggled with that in the first half. And then the second half came in and they figured it out. It was no problem. So adjustments are being made. There's communication between teammates to try and they got the game plan. They know it works for them. And then now, like we were saying in earlier pods when we were losing in the playoffs, now when Julius Randle is being shut down or defenses are figuring out how to kind of stifle what he's doing, we have
Atlanta triple teamed him. We didn't have anything to do.
We've got plenty more.
There's no more worrying about Randle having a bad game because there's going to be nights Fournier is going to go off for 25. There's going to be nights Kemba's going to give you 30 and 10. There's going to be nights D Rose is giving you 20. There's going to be nights that IQ comes off of the bench and gives you 24. And listen, I'm at a loss for words because I'm just so happy that I have a team that I can root for that is actually a team where our president, our coach, everything is meshing and they go, we have this plan. We're going to execute it.
We're built for a season.
Kind of people. Yeah. And what kind of brings me back to what we were saying earlier, what you were saying, Jace, how you have to worry about time management and you want to conserve some of these guys for, later runs, for later in the season and playoff runs and more important basketball. Conservation is going to be the biggest key to our success of this season.
And our team is set up better for that than any other.
Yeah, man. So
speaking of that, you want to know what's the funniest part? Is that I love how, because this contradicts a little bit. I love how Tibbs came out game one of preseason looking to bury another team. like for instance, I wasn't sure like who was gonna play.
But that's still that old classic coach mindset. I'm gonna kill them.
Dude, it was, first of all, I think it set the tone for the team. This was a new it's weird. It's a team that has a nucleus, but there's such key new components that it's still a little bit of a new team. You know what I'm saying? You're adding half the new starters, you know what I'm saying? And Julius is going to be playing in different roles. To me, that's pretty newish. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited beyond words. I think that we have the coach. We have a good we have a sound front office right now. the first sound front office since Checkitz and Grunfeld, and then also Donnie Walsh. I want to give him credit as well.
Yep.
But I really believe it was all Donnie Walsh back then. Now, at least we have a few people in there. They look like they have.
Leon Rose has a team.
Leon Rose, Worldwide West. They have their. I know. I'm going to be honest with you. I root for Scott Perry. Verdict's still out, and I want him to succeed. So hopefully he will. And I think he's doing great because look what they're doing. But I really love Leon Rose and Worldwide West. I've noticed a culture shift from them.
Immediately.
Yep. I think that they got the right coach. He is a disciple of old Knicks basketball, and that Riley type mentality. So we have a good foundation, and then the roster is deep, and like we said, it's built for a full season. And I want us to be healthy as a whistle for the whole season.
Yeah.
But you don't know, that's
Same,
not reality. And we have a lot of weapons where, dude, in the past, you'd be like, okay, if someone goes down, we're going to need to be searching. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there will be those moments, but like, you know what? We're pretty deep where like, in every position.
Agreed.
Speaking of Tibbs, did you guys see Derrick Rose talking about how he was talking to the younger players about how to deal with Tom Thibodeau's emotions and how crazy he gets on the sidelines? Did you see that interview at all?
Oh, I didn't. What'd he say?
So pretty much it was like 15 seconds or 20 seconds before Tibbs came into the locker room. He was kind of telling the younger guys that when he came into the league with the Bulls with Tibbs, how early in his career when he messed up, he would always like look to the sidelines, and seeing Tibbs, how emotional he is, he said it would just completely throw his game off. He would, so he gave the advice to the younger guys. Yeah. He said, if you mess up, don't look to the sidelines. Just everyone knows you messed up. Just put your hand up, take fault, and just keep playing. Cause he said that, once when he was young, he kept looking at him and it kept throwing his game off. I thought it was just a testament to like who this man is, how he leads his team, how he steers his ship. And like you said, from game one, when he came out wanting to bury the Pacers in a preseason game, like what's more Tom Thibodeau than that,
I saw the thing that last night he yelled at Julius Randle with 3 minutes left in a preseason game that they were up 12, and he's yelling at Randle for missing rotation.
Love it.
And you know what? Thank God. That's all I'm going to say.
Agreed.
Thank
accountability.
God. You want to know why? All these other teams, oh my God, it's just thank God. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Just think of Jeff Hornacek just being our coach, and it's just like, oh, Jesus, thank you.
Think of Derek Fisher having to deal with having sex with another man's wife or ex-wife.
That's all off the court stuff. I mean, to be honest with you, when we got Hornacek, I have to be straight up with you. I really liked him as a player. I was a point guard growing up, so Stockton was like amazing to me. Stockton to Malone pick and roll. I was smaller, so I related to him. The whole
Hornacek
thing.
Banging open threes out of those two, yeah.
So I got to see a lot of them, and then also with his sons, he was there too. So I saw both. And he was a great knockdown shooter. I mean, oh man, clutch as ever, and like the ball wouldn't even like touch the net. Again, coach is a leader, and that those qualities, he might not necessarily, not saying that he couldn't do it just with our team, it didn't mesh. But we need somebody who cares. And the reason why we all relate to it, because as Knicks fans, we've had enough of this crap. And back in the day, we saw what it took to win. And you know what? There were no games played with Riley and Van Gundy. And we're seeing that with Thibodeau, and we're like, whoa, this reminds us of like when we used to be winning. And in the front office and that type of culture, we're going to see big dividends this year.
Oh, there's little Luca. I knew he was going to say something odd.
He's just stretching. He's still sleeping.
Oh, nice.
He's not the best. He makes these like teeny, because by the way, he's literally right next to the speaker, like his foot is like almost next to it. So you're hearing like, even if he goes like but he's barely making noise. He's so cute.
Oh my God. I wanted to make a question for both of you guys based on, because we are super deep. Like some say, honestly, like you could be too deep as a basketball team. Because again, unlike the NFL or anything else, there's only 5 people on the court.
Hold on. But there's no and I don't mean this like to any disrespect to Kemba or Julius, there's no, and like RJ's young, there's no like, they're all kind of like emerging, even though like Kemba's made all-star teams and stuff like that. There's no like, and Kemba's kind of a dog. There's no, and so is Julius, these types of makeups of these guys,
Julius
but there's no like big showboat type Hollywood guy on this team, which is very Tom Thibodeau-ish and very 96-ish, if you ask me. Just a deep team,
I wanted to ask you guys though, if you can be too deep as a basketball team, it's like, I think we're still set up for a deal at some point. Do you think we trade this year, next year? Like, we're not keeping all 12 available. Like, most teams don't go 12 deep. They go like 8 or 9 deep.
Well, Tibbs rotation 12 deep.
Tibbs goes fucking 8 deep if he could help.
That's my point. How is he going to do that this year? What is
he can't. He literally can't.
Alec Burks is out of the rotation then.
If Randle or RJ average over 38 minutes a game, I'm going to be upset as a Knicks fan. That's going to be like coaching malpractice, honestly. They don't need to play that much with this team, ideally. You need to rest them throughout the year.
I mean, I think it's game by game, but I absolutely understand what you're saying from an overall standpoint. I really think that, like you said, we've got a lot of ways to beat you. So I think it's really going to come down to how healthy we are before the deadline. And because you're right, and you just made me smirk and get excited because, like, wow, like we're talking about Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
Right. We started off there, but since we've been talking, because obviously we've seen how good we are kind of without him right now, and maybe we get even better because he obviously can catch alley-oops. There's plenty of different things he brings, rim protector. Man, like we don't even need to give up much from what we've seen currently to even get something like potentially. So, oof. But then again, but the one thing is you don't want to mess up though the makeup of this team. That's the main thing. Is like chemistry. We have no even though like I'm not trying to put down Kevin Durant. Like we don't have any like alpha male who thinks who he is. You know what I'm saying on the team. So or at least yet, hopefully, right? So I think that matters, especially with who we are. Because like remember, I mean, by the way, can I also mention one thing? And tell me if this is rude. I am loving watching the Nets crumble.
Me too.
Oh my Lord. Oh Lord. And we are humbling.
It's enjoyable.
I said that I wouldn't want to sign Kyrie, and I'm very thankful that I said those words because
I said the same thing.
It was just an obvious headache waiting to happen.
I said I did want to sign Kyrie back in the day because I knew it would have came with KD, and I really just wanted KD. But I mean, this is fun to watch.
I wanted Durant and Damian Lillard forever.
But anyways, Dame still might happen.
How?
Dude, that's why I asked you the two deep thing. It's like we have 12 dudes that could be in a rotation.
Hold on.
Like 4 of those dudes are going to be traded in the next 2 years.
So Dame would play the 2, you're saying?
No. I'm saying, well, first of all, if Dame came to our team, he's starting over Kemba or Derrick Rose. He's our one. But I'm saying like
that's what I was saying is where you're going with the Kemba and Dame backcourt. That's basically what I was alluding to.
Well, no, I'm saying that like chances are Kemba or D Rose, I'm not saying they're a part of a deal. One of them might be.
God.
Dude, in order to match up with contracts and stuff, like
let's say D Roses. Hold on. Let's say D Roses. Roses. And you have Kemba and you have Damian Lillard. That has to be your backcourt, right?
No, you're starting. No, Kemba comes off the bench. Also, Kemba's not going to play the whole year. Dude, think of it. We're talking about injury history. Like Kemba's not playing 82 games.
Okay, fine. By the way, I'm not disagreeing because first of all, you have 2 point guards, like you said. So
it's like they're playing together.
Wow, Kemba, how would we pitch Kemba? Yo, bro, you're an all-star. You go sit on the bench. What?
I think you would have to start.
You point at his legs and say that one's a tear.
No, but I do see Joey. I do see where you're right because. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not a shooting guard. Like one of them is not a shooting guard. So like we might get beat by teams because of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. If you can't have like think of it this way, we're not even gonna have Rose and Kemba on the court too much because it's like whoever the 2 guard is for the other team, like if they give them 5 inches like height wise, and then they're just
let me ask you a question. RJ grew 2 inches. Let's say he evolves, right? You have Julius at the 4, God forbid Mitchell or someone at the 5, right? What do you think that like? We can get away with that 2 guard set. I'm just, by the way, I'm laughing because I actually am not being sort of serious because I'm kind of figuring this out while I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah.
Like it's all hypothetical.
Fournier and RJ are so interchangeable. They're almost the same height. They have similar skill sets. Like RJ's a better defender. Fournier currently is a better offensive player.
NBA, though, oh my Lord, we kill people.
Yeah, no, it's because you have like 19 3-point shooters on the team, and that's all 2K is. It's like, oh, there's the center. Oh, there's a three.
I know. But
in order for us to get this guy, we're gonna have to have a healthy.
We don't
Kemba,
need, honestly, guys.
We don't
really
need him.
Yeah,
I don't want.
I agree too. We don't need him. I don't think we're. I just don't think we're having all these dudes on our team in the next 3 years. Like they all signed 3-year deals.
Joey, that's a very good point. The only thing that would allow people to this was a smell test. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to see, will these guys work out? Now, what we saw, and I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but we did.
It is still preseason, so
no, but we did see magic. Listen, we've seen enough basketball to know. Okay. Yeah. And I was like, whoa. I started calling my wife over. I'm like, because she loves watching the games with me. She's actually knows a lot. And I'm like, you need to see this. I'm like, we're just killing them.
They generate open threes at such a crazy clip now. It's amazing.
I remember Sabonis hit like a baby hook shot, the first play. And I'm like, okay, let's do that. And from that on, we just killed them. Just killed them. So I think that if some of these guys do stick and this team does become a team where you're more adding pieces versus finding a new nucleus, then I really don't know, because it's really going to come down to health. So
guys, I have a question for you guys. What do you think the mindset in picking what's his name? Not going with Bullock, letting him go?
I just don't think they wanted guys that can contribute more from a dishing and distributing standpoint. Bullock is such a solid catch and shoot shooter, but he can't dribble more than once before he has to move the ball. Like, he gets trapped so easily. He just doesn't have a dribble game at all. So replacing Bullock with Fournier is so much of a better.
It was more pressed on like the decision to keep Alec Burks over Reggie Bullock. Why do you think that decision came in?
Because he can dribble and penetrate, and he can create his own shot.
Hold on, this team needed more shooting. First of all, okay. Second of all, and by the way, Reggie Bullock was a great team guy. And he brought toughness, and he was great. And I really he
was our number one perimeter defender.
He overachieved, and I hope he overachieves again on the Mavericks, because he was great for us. But how can you tell me that our roster isn't better this year? What are you kidding? I know it's a preseason so far, but
can I just remind you guys?
And you hope that RJ adds some toughness this year.
Oh, dude, you know what it is? I think RJ already is tough. He just doesn't make emotion on his face, so you don't know.
You love him. You love him, Joe.
Dude, RJ is my hero. I wanted to say real quick about the Reggie Bullock thing. Reggie Bullock makes more money than Alec Burks. Do any of us think Reggie Bullock is a better basketball player?
No, I was just going to say, just go watch what Alex Burks does, and then go look at what Reggie Bullock does. And
we don't need to be talking bad about Reggie Bullock.
No, dude, he was awesome for our team. He's great.
Great 3-and-D guy. But I mean,
that dude came back from back surgery. That's hard.
It's two different kind of players. It's just two different kind of guards.
Ben, I know you had one more question because you said you had two before. What's the other one you wanted to ask?
Yeah, you guys pretty much went over it. But my question I was going to throw at you guys at the end was, if there was a trade to happen, who do you think on our roster we could part with that wouldn't change? I don't care about who you think would come. Who do you think could leave without affecting the chemistry?
Honestly,
hold on. Can I add a stipulation to that question? Because I actually have. I would like to ask both of them too. You can't answer with an older guy on the team. Okay. How about that? You can't give me Derrick Rose or Taj Gibson. That's all
right. So let's do that. Yeah. So then some of the newer cats that if they left the team in a trade, that wouldn't affect the roster.
Well, I mean, everyone would affect the roster in different ways, but I think they would be most willing to part with any of the rookies they got. Quickly would be the highest trade chip they can offer. That's not RJ or Randle. I think they would try to keep RJ or Randle literally no matter what. But I honestly still think that, like, to get Damian Lillard or to get Cat at this point, I guess would be the other name I've been hearing more recently, not as like a real thing, as like a hypothetical years down the line. Quickly Toppin and multiple firsts are like Quickly and Toppin are the two biggest young trade pieces we have on our team currently. I think McBride or Grimes can get to be better than either one of them. I mean, Quickly I think is truly going to be the best of the four, but Grimes has like that Allen Houston release that if that dude gets time, he's going to shine. But Quickly Toppin and multiple firsts is going to be at least what it takes to get this. Frank, what do you want to say?
I don't think you can't tell. There's no way you would know. We haven't even played one regular season game together? How will we know who could leave without being affected?
The second unit is going to be almost exactly the same. We watched enough Rose, Toppin, quickly, and Noel / Gibson that we know what's going to happen there for the most part.
We also need to see what Fournier does over a full body of a season too. I mean, I am excited about him like crazy. So, but I do think
I do also want to bring up a negative about Fournier. That dude also has an injury history.
I'm telling you, you're gonna love Evan Fournier a lot.
I agree because I know he was really good in France as well.
Yeah,
like when he played. But man, when he started doing like some of those jumpers, like he had swagger with those jump shots. I was like,
dude, some of his best career games were in MSG.
I want to remind you guys that some of our guys are coming out of Olympic basketball, so they're in shape still. And I don't know if you remember, you probably do, when Carmelo came out of the Olympics. It was one of the best seasons we had. So some of these guys have not stopped bowling. I know they all were working out, but a lot of these guys got to play competitive ball over the summer.
All right. So can I ask a few questions, or is this not allowed on the show?
No,
you can do whatever you want. Yeah.
All right, great. So now that we all had our exciting party about the Knicks and everyone's all pumped up, so who's our competition? Let's start breaking this down and let's see who we're running into. And then I'd also like to follow up with who is the one team that everyone is predicting is going to be good, because that always happens. It's usually two teams at least that will not make the playoffs. In the East, I'm talking about, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
I think the Heat and the Bulls have both been shot up in rankings and crap like that based on their offseason signings. The Heat got Lowry and a couple other people. The Bulls got DeRozan and a couple other people. But those are the two most notable they added. And I think Kyle Lowry's old and not going to play the whole season. I think the Heat kind of are what they are. Jimmy Butler's 32. Kyle Lowry's going to be 36. Like, that's not a recipe for success long term. I think they're overranked and they're going to be knocked down a bit. And I think the Bulls, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic, like those, where's defense? Defense is half the game, and the Bulls are going to be giving up 125 points.
Aren't they blowing teams out though right now in the preseason?
I don't care about preseason. I'm a Jets fan, man. I just watch preseason not matter at all.
I think you got to watch out the Bulls, and I think the Hornets are going to surprise you. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think the Bulls are good.
Huge step, but I think the Bulls are going to be really, really good.
Now, by the way, the Hornets got they lost by 68 points yesterday.
I know. I saw.
Which is shocking because you see these highlights and you do see you think Bridges is going to break out. I mean, you would think that, right? You would think that,
LaMelo Ball just won Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Sorry, hold on one second. Luka, there you go.
Little man's awake.
Hi, Mrs. Lipstein. Congratulations.
She's right there taking care of him. But anyways, so I don't know about, I think the Hornets will make the playoffs. I don't know how. I think they're more of what.
I think they're more play in than play off.
Exactly, 8, 7, if they really overachieve a 6. I mean, that's really, I think, what they're saying.
I think the Hawks is going to be, I think we're going to be neck and neck with the Hawks again.
Guys.
I think we see them again.
I think us, the Hawks and Celtics are all extremely interchangeable.
So.
Guys, I was literally going down that route.
The Hawks.
You know what? We haven't, here's the thing. I think as a Knicks fan, we all wanted prior to this past year before we played Trae Young. I have always thought our rivals are the Bulls because of Jordan back in the day when I was in the 90s, the Pacers and the Heat. Those are the three teams to me. I know we have a rivalry with the Nets and I do want to beat them always, but I'm just saying
and New York and Boston will always be a thing.
Yeah, and I always want to, because especially in division, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I always want to beat all these teams. I want to beat everyone always, but I'm saying those are the blood wars of the playoffs, you know what I'm saying? Rivalry. Yeah. Now it seems like we have the Hawks. And what's funny is that I always wanted it to be one of those teams, but rivalries write themselves. And I'll tell you one thing, if we meet the Hawks next year in the playoffs,
oh my God, man,
there's going to be a fight. It's going to be, it's going to be a real situation and it's going to be fun. I have to tell you, listen, it's going to be stressful, but you know what, when we were struggling all these years, I would die for a battle in a rivalry in the playoffs. I would literally give an arm, and I think we're here, guys. And if we meet the Hawks, we're definitely here. Can you imagine if we met them in the second round or something still big stakes or something? Oh my Lord. Or even the Eastern Conference. Oh my God.
I'll tell you, I love watching the Knicks bury the Pacers. I don't know what it is.
Oh, love it.
That matchup, but I just
it's just the reminder of Reggie Miller doing this.
No, it's the old rivalry when they took us out with when they took us
That's
out of the
what I
second
just
round.
said, Ben. Gotta listen and
Carmelo.
watch. Jeez.
All right. So this is what
All
I'm
with
gonna,
Paul George.
so this is what I'm gonna do, guys. All right. I'm gonna name some teams going from who I don't think is going to be very good and stuff like that. And let's talk about if we agree. Pistons are going to give us nothing, correct? Let's just
Trash.
wipe them out. Okay. Orlando Magic gives you nothing this year.
Yeah.
Cleveland
probably.
Cavaliers give you nothing.
Probably, yeah.
Or
A little feisty,
Colin
but
Sexton,
like
you think
11
Colin
seed. I think the Cavaliers are going to compete for the 10 seed, try to get in the plan.
So they're basically done what the Knicks have done back in the day. They're going from a 13 to a 10. That's done nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, right. What about the Raptors?
I think they're still a year away. I don't think they added it enough.
I mean, I think they're not good at all. And I think
Siakam was supposed to be like this top 20 player in the league going into last year, and he fell off he's just not that dude.
They're gonna give you nothing. It's rebuild time.
Okay. I think we just spoke about the Hornets. What's the ceiling again on that? If they overachieve, it's a 6?
Between like 8, I would say 8 and 9. I don't think they can get top
Yeah,
6.
exactly. And if they overachieve,
say
playing
like an
insane,
8
it's a
seed.
6,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. The Pacers.
That now we're getting to like where
Well, I'm gonna keep going. Keep going. Pacers, yes, which I agree. Now we're getting to
compete like around us. Like if we're competing for 6, 7, 8, I think they're in the same tier.
Okay. What about the Washington Wizards?
I think they take a step back. Actually, I think they're going to be like, I think them and the Cavs are going to be switching spots like 10 and 12 kind of thing.
I disagree.
Okay,
I think the Wizards still make the playoffs at a decent seed.
They made the playoffs last year solely because Russell Westbrook put them on his back for 3 weeks, and then they crashed the 10 seed. They're not.
Bradley Beal gets to really work this year, though, and I think
Bradley Beal gets to finally be traded, hopefully out of Washington, and have a better life.
So I think if he ends up the whole year there, I think the Wizards make it in a decent seed.
Okay. Well, now I'm going to give you what I think are the top 8 teams. Yeah. Okay. And I'm not going to give it in order because to me, the Sixers are too much of a question mark. Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You can't, I mean, how could I know? I mean, can you imagine if Simmons plays insane and they, right? So like, I have no idea. I don't think that's going to happen though. All right, let's start with the Bulls. I know we said that. I think, because I said I thought they were going to be good. They're deep. They're a real team. If you look at the pieces, now here's the truth. We're going to find out if Lonzo Ball is good this year, guys. I know just his brother is good now. He's all of a sudden good. To be honest, he's not achieved too much in the NBA so far. I know some systems he was in. Well, you know what? Anyone could say that. Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He was supposed to shock the NBA. Wasn't he like the 2nd pick or something like that? Right.
He was. Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying he's looked incredible in the preseason. So maybe he wasn't. Now he's in the right system. Who knows? But I do think that they're going to be really good and take. They're going to be in the playoffs. I really think they could be as high. I think you guys are going to like cringe. This is if the Sixers do not play good, and if a lot of other things don't happen. But I don't want to say the teams yet don't play well. Their highest high they can go is a 3. They're more realistic. Okay, is more 5 to 7, I think.
Yeah.
But I do think they depends on other teams' injuries and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because that could automatically change the landscape.
I don't want to think I'm a mind reader or anything real quick. I think what you're going to say for the next couple of teams is that the highest any of them can get is a 3, because I think we all still have the Nets and Bucks 1, 2, right? That's going to be what this.
Yes.
I mean, those are still the cream of the crop.
Okay. So we can just fast forward. So then we have the Hawks, we have the Heat, right? Left. And
so we're just talking about the Hawks.
Wait, do we mention the Celtics? Do we mention the Celtics?
I think the Celtics, are like in the same thing as like the Knicks, I really think all 5 of those teams are like who knows, honestly, like the Celtics, Knicks, Heat, Hawks.
Okay, let's talk about the Celtics. I think they're interesting. Do you agree?
Yes, because I think Jason Tatum's like a top 7 or 8 player in the NBA.
And I would agree with that, especially when he's going. He can really change the course of a game. And I don't say
that dude has a shot.
Yeah,
he's long too. He's really good. And Jaylen Brown is weird because sometimes he looks like literally he's going to be an all-star, and then sometimes he's sleeping. I don't know if it's maybe or what, you know what I'm saying? But they have a decent team that, I always think the Celtics can kind of, and people say, oh, their roster's not as good, but I always feel like they're dangerous-ish, when coming into it.
I always feel the same way about that. There's always a chance that this team can squeak in and then give you some trouble.
So what's
I mean, their top two is so much better than a lot of teams. It's like Brown and Tatum can get you so far alone.
what's the highest they can go? You're going to say 3?
I actually don't think that they can win the division. I actually think I think the Celtics are going to end up behind the Knicks or the Sixers somehow. So I'd probably say 4.
I agree. I think their highest is 4 they can make.
Yeah.
I
Frank?
don't think they could be in the top 3.
In our division, I can probably see them being 4th again as well. I think the best way to kind of go about it, like just to bring it back to like a Knicks.
We're talking about the conference, right? You're saying?
Yeah. 4th in the conference.
Yep.
So you got to look at the entire Eastern Conference, right? So with the Knicks aren't better than Brooklyn, right? You would say, just off of the strength of James Harden and KD. We're not as
good. No, 1 and 2, Brooklyn and
we're not
Milwaukee, no matter what.
Yeah,
they're pretty deep too, Brooklyn, by the way. They I hate to admit it, but they have some really, they're deep.
Bruce Brown, Blake Griffin, they have dudes.
Do you think we're better than the 76ers?
With Simmons? That's like those Sixers are like the Sixers are
currently
the ultimate wild card.
Currently, no. I don't like this analysis. Let's start breaking down our roster faces theirs. Okay, we run teams off the gym. Would that work against the Sixers?
No.
I think that we're better than the Sixers. I do.
Now,
I honestly think if they play Ben Simmons and they have him, I don't.
With a healthy Mitch Robinson and defensive presence under the rim
against that team, that's huge.
We're better than them. I think guard play. I think we're better than them. Joel Embiid,
are you counting Ben Simmons when you say guard play?
I am counting Ben Simmons because
Ben Simmons, if Ben Simmons was on the Knicks as currently constructed, like we just added Ben Simmons and took off Dwayne Bacon. Ben Simmons, no, I know, but Ben Simmons would be our best or second best player immediately on our team. Agreed. No matter how bad he was in the playoffs last year, like Ben Simmons is better than any guard we have by a bit.
Who's deeper, us or the 76ers?
In the playoffs, it doesn't matter. We're deeper.
Hold
but
on,
in the playoffs,
that's a great question.
12.
That's a great question. I used to think the Sixers were deep, actually. Now I would say
they're really top heavy.
We might be that's what I was gonna say. We might have a deeper, complete roster, but their stars are who they are, and you have to deal with those guys every single night. Yep. And like for us, what I believe is like what you said, Mitchell Robinson and having big bodies against the Sixers would be important, and maybe because I think that like. We would attempt, I could be wrong, and easier said than done. You try and take Joel Embiid out of the game and let everyone else try and beat you.
Yep.
But I think isn't that everyone's strategy against them, right?
And that doesn't work out most of the time. Taking out Joel Embiid is way easier said than done.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So you could
I want to, Frank, before we move on from the Sixers,
can you get away with double teaming him this year? That's the question. Sorry. Can you get
I mean, if they keep Ben Simmons out there trying to play the 1, at least you could always double off that dude, right? I want to say though, outside of like matchup standpoint, just their top 3 versus our top 3. Their top 3 is Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, currently constructed. Joel Embiid is better than Julius Randle. Ben Simmons is better than RJ. Right, exactly. I don't even know who our third. Like, who do you consider our third best player? Is RJ our second best player or third best player? Where do we even go from there? Fournier, Kemba.
RJ is our third best player. RJ is our third best player.
So if it goes,
does that put Kemba at number Randle? 2?
I mean, I would probably just because I'm a loyal person. Let's put Julius 1.
Yep.
Okay. Put Kemba 2. You're right, because Derek is pretty damn good too. I mean, you want to say that he emerges. If you're talking about right now, this second, I don't know if RJ is even 3.
Guys, but I really realistically quickly is in the same category. Like if you're going to level RJ there, why not put Quickly there? I don't think they're that far
Quickly's not there yet, dude. Quickly's not good at defense. Almost Quickly has a terrible defensive rating in all accounts.
If we're going straight scoring and what he could do for the team, I don't know why you wouldn't put RJ and Quickly almost at the same caliber in scoring.
It's not too far off, but I think RJ's got him at the moment. Quickly's electric. He's very shifty when he penetrates. Obviously, you can shoot bombs for threes. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's exciting. I think we have a steal and a half from a contract perspective for him, which really helps the roster. But I do think RJ's better. I'm actually retracting my statement that RJ's currently 3rd, because if we're talking about this current second, I don't know. I mean, Derrick Rose can give you more points every single night than RJ Barrett, but RJ does a lot of other things, but so does Derrick Rose. You know what I'm saying? But then you start looking at minutes. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot. It's a very heavy debate that really doesn't matter. The good news is that both of them are on our team. Right.
The main point was that from the Sixers standpoint, their 1 through 3 is way better than our 1 through 3. Our 4 through 10 is better, but we're
deeper.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, there's not many teams other than the Nets that we aren't deeper than.
Right.
I would say the
That's what I
Jazz
was
is one of the
going
only
to
other
allude
teams
to.
that has a better bench than us. The Jazz had two of
I'm
the top
talking
three
about
six
only
mans of the
East,
year.
by the way. By the way,
Yeah.
I'm only talking about the East right now.
Okay.
I got something for you guys. So we had talks last year. When is it going to start quickly? Why is it quickly starting? Why is Elfrid Payton starting? Right now, with the addition of Kemba, I think now do we get in the conversation of quickly is going to be a sixth man, and this is his role. He's could go run for sixth man of the year. This is the kind of player he's going to be.
I think Derrick Rose is gonna be the sixth man of the year by the end of the year. Honestly,
Wouldn't that be sweet? Let's keep him healthy for the playoffs, though. I mean, as much as I want him to get the recognition he deserves,
yeah.
let's keep. I don't care about the sixth man. Let's keep him healthy for the playoffs. But I agree. If he's wrecking people, that's good news for us, right?
Yes.
So that's
exactly.
what I'm asking is quickly become a sixth man type of player? Obviously,
Our
there's no room
starters
for
are
him to
set.
be a point
Quickly
guard in the
is off the
starting
bench.
roster.
Oh, let me ask you
Yeah.
a question. I think the answer is no. And the reason why is because he's not our sixth guy.
Like our eighth guy.
I mean,
So you put
and
Derrick
by the
Rose
way,
as
he's
our official
amazing.
six?
Hold on. I just sung his praises about how he's shifty when he penetrates, how he could
Yeah.
shoot from long range, how he's electric. But he's just, let's just talk black and white. He's not our sixth guy at the current moment, I don't believe.
He's like our eighth man. If you like literally just discredit the centers altogether, just say Noel comes in.
I was about to
for
say
Mitch.
that. So, okay, let's not even say, okay, Taj, because okay. Let me ask you a question.
Just 1 through 4.
With what you're seeing right now, I think you can make an argument, even though I think it's a great thing to have that we're having. It's a great thing that both players improved. But like, who would you send in first right now, Obi or Quickly? Now I know Quickly had a better year last year, but who would you send in right now?
Julius Randle is going to play as many minutes as possible, so it's going to be Quickly regardless.
Well, I think it's a matchup thing. It's a matchup thing. But my point is like, so there you go. Both of those guys aren't a six man, and I just showed you as someone else is interchangeable, sort of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we're deep. But realistically, I would have to say
Derrick Rose is going to be the first two off the bench every game because Kemba is going to be the first one out for health reasons every game, in my opinion.
Quickly, do you think they're going to start using this kid as the two alongside Derrick Rose more than they were showing him one time?
That's what they did last year.
Yeah, they did.
I think what you're asking is, are they going to more 2-guard sets this year? Because
Yeah,
we're going to run teams out of the gym. I think we are.
Yeah.
Last year,
Rose and Quickly had a 2-man net rating of like plus 12.
Wait, I think that's what worked against the Pacers. We killed them when we had those two.
Yeah.
In the game. So yes.
Frank, you've been watching preseason. How much does our second unit looks almost identical?
Yeah, I mean, we got tons of guards, so let's
okay,
get these boys running. You know,
okay. Can I leave you with something that I really think the Knicks got to focus on this year?
Absolutely.
We have to jump on teams early for one or two reasons. One, my heart rate, and two, it's about damn time we're not trailing ever in a game. Okay. Even last year, as great as the season was, we were always trailing and coming from behind a lot of the time.
Because of Elfrid Payton.
Okay, fine. Then that's a fair assessment, actually.
That's not the only reason, but
I feel bad for a little bit Elfrid Payton, but I will say though, I was murmuring the same thing you were as well.
Yeah.
But what I will say is this: our second unit is so strong that if our first unit can give you a lead, we're going to blow teams out.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So if we can jump on teams early and not be playing catch up and not needing our second unit to save the world, oh man, you know what I'm saying? So I believe we win. I'm going to say something crazy. 85 to 90% of the games, if our starters hand our second unit without injuries, remember, that's a huge what if this year. You know what I mean?
Jace, what do you think our record is at the end of the year?
You know what? I actually want to hear
because it sounds like you're going to go like 60 and 22 or something crazy.
I've thought so much about the show, what we're going to talk about, and I never thought about what our record is going to be. I really don't know. You wonder why? Because I don't want to say I haven't been this excited in a minute because that first preseason and second preseason game was absolutely.
I haven't been this excited since the first full Melo year, man.
Yeah,
and that was mostly because of Melo.
Wonder why? Because I think for the first time we know we'll be there past like Christmas.
Yes.
And like no matter what, like we'll at least be playing the playoffs. Like let's say we stink, right? We'll at least be like a 7 or 8 or 6. You know what I'm saying? And we'll be complaining about it, but we're still a real team, and something to deal with.
Right.
I don't think that's happening. I don't think
we are a team.
Here's what I think, guys. I think that the East is deep. I think you're gonna see a lot of parity. But where there was always parity in the East because teams were bad, I actually think there's so many good teams. We didn't really even talk about the Hawks, even though we said we might meet them, blah, blah, blah. Like the Hawks are really good. Okay. So let me rewind. The Nets and the Bucks are good. Okay.
Yeah.
Anytime you need to deal with Kevin Durant and Harden and you need to deal with Giannis, you're in trouble. Okay. I believe even without Ben Simmons, I don't ever want to have to face Joel Embiid because you have to figure out how to take him out of the game. Can we beat them? They're the most beatable out of those two that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Outside of that, you then have the Hawks, you have the Heat, and you have the Bulls. And to me, I'm gonna put as the next tier, I would say probably the Celtics, Pacers, and Hornets. That's what I think the East is this year. Now, here's the good news, guys. If you listen to what I just said, okay, we have a chance of being anywhere between, and this is where I was going. I don't know if it's realistically going to happen, but we can go as high as a 3.
Yep.
Okay. And to me, as low as a 7. And I know people are going to hate that. And that's if the Celtics overperform this year, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of what ifs, but I'm being realistic. But the good news is that most likely we're not even in a playoff scenario, which, to be honest with you, how do you guys even feel about the playoff scenario? Shouldn't it just be the top 8? I mean, I know it gives people a chance, but
I actually think the play-in's fun.
do you? Okay, well, as an entertainment value, I do, but
Yeah.
like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could play the whole year, have a great year. All these teams are good, and then we're out in 1 second. Like, I want to. Maybe it's just
the NBA only has 30 teams. For 20 of them to have a chance to win the championship at the end, it kind of defeats the purpose of the regular season as a whole. There's too many people.
I mean, for me, I know you also get more chances if you're a higher, like, seed, whatever, right? It's like double elimination, sort of.
Yeah.
But like, I think I'm also just being a grumpy Knick fan and saying, like, I've just been waiting for playoff basketball for so damn long that I'm ready for. How about this? You might say I'm greedy. I'm not ready for 1 year playoff basketball. I'm due for a nice decade. Okay. How about that? Of making every year like the 90s. Okay.
Yeah.
Seriously, I have had pain. I have stuck through every single time. I had season tickets for 2 years during the garbage years. Okay. I literally, as a younger guy, that was a big deal for me, by the way. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That was not my parents. I did it. Okay. Geez, I never missed a game as far as watching on TV, preseason, summer league, whatever. I'm not even asking for much. Just let's just have some playoff wars again.
Agreed.
Do I want to win a championship? What are you, nuts? But you know what? I'm sorry to talk about
fun playoff basketball.
I feel like I'm becoming
there's
that,
nothing like it.
But I feel like I'm becoming that dad. Hopefully, hopefully all Luka will see is winning Knicks basketball.
Well, I was just
we're overdue.
I'm happy you said that. I have a question for you, Jace. How old do you plan on Luka being when he goes to his first Knicks game at the Garden?
All right, so this is a spoiler.
It's like 3 weeks.
Here's a spoiler. Luke, well, it won't be during, obviously, when attendees are there, so it's going to be a little tricky. Probably might not till the end of this year, deep into the playoffs. Maybe not really. I mean, too raucous and too many people. Maybe next year for a game, but. I spoke to the equipment manager of the Knicks, Martinez, and we're gonna get Luke in the locker room and stuff like that. So his baby shots are on the 15th of November, and it will be cleared on December 1st. So sometime around then, and obviously we'll have to work around the Knicks. I don't want anyone to be there. It's
Martinez
cool
with the hookup.
Yeah, right. As cool as it would be for all the guys to be there. I actually, just for safety reasons, of course, wanted to be just a blank open, just freshly cleaned if possible. Just for one, 5-minute span where we could just run in there, get some pictures, and then God forbid if they let us maybe sit him down on center court alone too, that would be special. But we do, so he will make an appearance, just not for his first game, but one of his first real true outings ever will be to the Garden. Hey, listen, his middle name's Riley, so
that's awesome. Yeah,
awesome,
you have to.
Man.
Frank, before we let Jace go, since we'll probably do one more podcast before the start of the season, but what is your prediction? Record wise and where we end up. You don't have to go through the whole East, just record wise and where we end up.
So I'm so superstitious.
Do we break 50? Just get to the nut and bolts of it.
No, I don't think we break 50.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna go 48 and 7 above. What's 7 below 40? 41. 34. 48 and 34. We end up as a 6 seed.
Oh,
You think
Dude,
a 6 seed?
the East is strong.
I know that, and that just pisses me off.
Like we might end up the 9th.
It figures
seed,
we have our first team, and it's the deepest the East has been.
Remember, like 4 years ago, the East, like the 8th seed would be like 34 and 50
Dude,
or
it was
some
a
ridiculous
JV
crap.
conference.
Yeah,
I think we're sitting anywhere between 3 and 6.
3 and 9, honestly. Like it
3 and
literally, we could
6.
like, dude, it's wild.
No, I think we're gonna be. My gut's telling me anywhere between 3 and 5, but just to have a little bit of wiggle room, I think anywhere between 3 and 6. I can see us realistically being.
So what's the win? Spit it out.
Spit out 48 wins right now. Yeah, we beat Boston twice. We got Atlanta.
No, just answer. So you said 48 gets you a 6 seed. I disagree with that. And
I disagree with that as well.
I think it's going to be close. I think 3 through 6 is
higher.
literally. I think 3 through 6 is literally going to be like 50, 49. Like we're tied with 48 wins.
I don't think. I think there's no because the teams. Let me ask you a question, okay? I'm not.
So I think the bad teams are going to be bad. Like I think teams are going to get like 15 to 20 wins.
But can the Hornets beat the Hawks? I'm not saying that they would in every. The answer is no, but they can. They definitely
one
can.
game, yeah, for sure.
So my point, and they might not be in the playoffs.
I could see him having like.
Dude, I also this means like I think the
wins.
West is going to be the JV league. I think the West 8 seed might have like 36 wins. You know what I mean? Like I'm saying, like those wins are going to come from other places. Like the West 6 seed a couple of years ago had 50 wins.
I think 48 gets you to 4.
I think 48 gets you to 3.
Wow.
That's what I think. I think you'll be maybe 4. Maybe
I think there's 3 teams that get to 50 plus. I think
it's sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm going to be the positive one, boys. I'm saying we're getting 50 wins. I'm going solid 50 wins. That's it.
Wow.
I'm happy there.
And what's this? And what seed? What seed?
4 seed. I think we're chilling at the same place.
4 seed. Okay, I am gonna make my prediction. I want to be like
Homer it. Do it.
I want to be like we're 52 wins and blah blah blah. But I really want to. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna probably hang up and text you guys 53. but the truth is, I've just seen too much Knicks basketball, so I'm going to be a little bit of a pessimist. Okay, I'm going to say, and I'm not trying to be one under you. I'm saying 47 or 48. I'm going to say 47 just to not copy you. Okay, but I'm saying that's where we're realistically ending up because we all know we'll give up a game or two that we shouldn't have.
What is that? 4 seed, 5 seed?
So that's where I'm going. I think if I'm going to almost say 47, 48, it's the same thing. And I do think it unfortunately gets you anywhere between 3 and 5, but I'm going to stick with the median on that, and I'm going to go 4.
Host the home playoff game.
I think we're all right in the same area.
And now let's just quickly, because I think this is a one-word quick answer. We don't need explanations. Who is the one? Is it the Nets or the Bucks?
Bucks.
Okay.
I think Kyrie comes back. I'm going Nets.
I agree. I think the Nets might win it, which I'm not happy about. But
I think the Nets are going to win the title. I think the Bucks are going to be the 1 seed for the year, though.
Okay, so since we know how 1-2 is going, and everyone pretty much has us, in that like 4 or 5 spot or even 3, right? So if the Knicks are in 3, right, which we all kind of almost have, right? I know the highest is 3. Who would be the 3 seed? Who is your pick for the 3?
I'm saying Hawks.
I'm also going to say Hawks.
You know what? I hate to be annoying. I'm going to say either the Hawks or the Bulls, and I think everyone's going to be shocked about that because I do think
the Bulls are so overrated. We'll find out, though, right?
Well, I mean, I could agree with you because, like, I don't think Lonzo Ball's so good, but maybe I'm just like looking at preseason too much, so I'm probably putting my foot in my mouth. But I agree, the Hawks are a problem. The one thing I will say that people aren't mentioning about the Hawks is, I know Cam Reddish was hurt last year, right? But they're not. Like if a few players go down or like a Clint Capella they're in trouble. Okay. So even though they might be good and get right during playoff time and you might not want to face them, they're as good to me as if they could stay healthy. But if they are healthy, they're as good as a 3 seed.
You know how like we're talking about how deep we are at guard? They're deep at like the small forward, like 2, 3, 4 position.
Yeah,
they have Herter, they have Hunter, they have Reddish, they have Bogdanovich. They have a lot of dudes.
They do, but I don't think they can give up so much of their big bodies.
I mean, Capella is like a.
Let me ask you a question. I agree.
Gonga is out right now.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say Capella does stay healthy. How would they do with missing Collins? Do you think that would hurt them?
Collins is great offensively. Of course, I think, of course, Collins would hurt them. But I mean, how long would
They
he
will
actually
think
be out
about
for?
how much more reliant they'd have to be on Capella.
I think what sucks is that Okongwu is currently out for them. So if Collins gets hurt while Okongwu is not playing, that hurts a lot. But I think if Collins doesn't get hurt till after Okongwu's like back in the rotation, I don't think it hurts nearly as much.
Typical Knicks fans rooting for injuries. Continue. What assholes?
Take out his leg.
Yeah.
Kill Trae Young. Frank, any last words?
I just think Clint Capella does a lot more for that team than a lot of people realize. He's the driving force for Trae Young. Without him, he doesn't manipulate as much. He doesn't make the defenses collapse. His floater is not there as often.
He makes their spacing good.
Yeah,
Clint Capella is the key to their spacing. Without him being there and
that rim run,
being that threat, you're not going to penetrate as much with Trae. I think. I don't think he's going to be as successful. I think he'll still be able to do it because the guy's going to be, and already is a rising star. But I think Clint Capella is extremely, extremely important to that team. I think Collins is great. Collins is a good offensive threat, but I don't think he demands as much, even though this guy can jump out of the gym. He had that crazy dunk in the preseason or whatever it was. That was wild. That was wild. He
doesn't have the pull on the defense on a pick and roll rim run as like Capella does.
No,
yeah,
not like Capella. No, Capella is very important to that.
You have an all-star this year?
Who?
Us.
Do we have an all-star?
I think Julius gets the votes again. I think Julius will do it again.
I think he gets it again. I mean, the guy.
Kemba make it? RJ make it?
I don't know if Kemba's going to see enough minutes for him.
And I think RJ isn't going to get the votes at 2 to actually like get there yet.
I think you guys are sleeping on the amount of fans that Kemba Walker has. He's got all of New York now, and then all of his old fans, man.
It's the minutes. You gotta watch his minutes. And I think RJ doesn't even crack like the 100 top players lists. He's definitely not going to be getting any all-star votes. I can tell you that.
RJ gets slept on more than any player in the league. Yeah, Jace, that's why I love RJ Barrett so much, because he gets slept on other teams' Twitter.
Well, I can assure you he's not getting slept on this podcast. I could promise.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Anything hilarious. You want to plug before we get out of here?
Oh, no. No, I'm good.
You're like, not even Grungy Gentleman. Forget it.
Oh, I mean, I have our NBA clothes on our website, of course, and it's also an NBA 2K. It's at Sporting Goods. In NBA 2K, it's kind of like they release it, they pull it out, so you kind of catch it, which is cool. But there's plenty of drops with 2K this year, and of course, it's on our website right now, grungygentleman.com. The product is sensational, but hopefully, you guys will be the ones saying it, not me.
I'll definitely be wearing one by the next pod with that code you gave us. Thank you so much. Very appreciative of you for that.
Yes. But that's a product. That's
we're not gonna say it. Don't worry.
Yeah, but anyways, hopefully you guys do. That would be cool if you guys make that move. That'd be
Jace. Cool. Are you going to be at game 1? Because a few of us will be there.
I wish, but obviously, I actually really.
Having a 1-month-old, yeah, I'm leaving. Forget it.
No, actually, I'm actually excited. I want to watch it with Luka. I actually want to. I can't wait for the first real game. He unfortunately really can't see yet. But in theory and the pictures, and I'll probably put him in a Knick thing. Yeah. He's got Knicks robes and Knicks blankets, and everyone's sending him Knicks stuff, Knicks teddy bears. So we'll nick him out and we'll get ready for game 1 together. But I'm actually can't wait to watch him. So I won't be in attendance now.
Hopefully we get to go to a game together this year. That'd be fun. And maybe the baby could come. Maybe it's later season and the baby joins us
next year on the baby. I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. But I definitely, listen, it's a long season. I definitely want to get to games, but I can guarantee you at the worst, I'll be watching. That's for sure.
Frank, any last words?
No, thank you, Jace. It was really nice meeting you again, to chat with you, seeing how much passion you have for this team. There's nothing better than having somebody on that's as passionate and that actually knows the game.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's apparent that you know what you're talking about and you see what's going on. So it was a pleasure.
Love and admiration for the Knicks. Knows no bounds with this man. That's for sure. Again, Big Knick Energy Pod. Check out our sponsors, Empire Original Designs at jointheempire.com. The East Coast #1 challenge coin manufacturer, home of challenge coins, lapels, pins, patches, keychains, bottle openers, and more. Mention our podcast, Big Knick Energy, via email for 5% off purchases. Once again, that's jointheempire.com. And Mr. Print, located in New Windsor. You think it, we print it. You can design your shirt right on the website. MrPrint845.com can be shipped anywhere in America. Mr. Print845 on Instagram for all your printing and embroidery needs. Once again, that's MrPrint845.com. By America, I mean the US of A. And with that, let's go Knicks. I'm Joe Yoke. That's Trey Deuce. That's Jace Lipstein. Let's go Knicks. 50 wins. Peace.